Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Late Afternoon Glass Off podcast, or otherwise known as the Largo podcast. And joining me, my good friend is Finley James. Although he's not really joining me, he is about a couple thousand kilometres off the coast of Australia in the Pacific. I believe it's the Pacific. Where are you, Finley?
Zach, I found myself in the lovely Vanuatu island chain. We are at an island called Afate in the city of Port Vila. So we're staying at a pretty cool little beach resort here called Breakers, and there's waves right in front. We've been surfing twice a day. It hasn't been amazing, but we've had some good sessions here and there. But yeah, just catching me breath, mate. Just relaxing. It's been good.
I feel like a lot of people probably haven't had the time to go over there or experience it. What's Vanuatu like for crew that haven't been there? Like, just sum it up.
Look, I haven't been to Fiji or any of those other Pacific nations, but I imagine if you've been there, you probably find it pretty similar. It's pretty cruisy. Everyone's on their own schedule. No one's really in any real hurry to do anything, which is perfect.
Yeah. It sounds exactly like Samoa. When I was there last year, you're driving through like the towns and there's this crew just like sleeping under like their little like hut things with just a roof.
Yeah.
So it sounds pretty similar.
Well, I just was, I'm sat poolside pretty well, and it's lunchtime, and when I'm sat in the restaurant, and I didn't really consider that we'd have people here, which is pretty dumb. I've just done about 3 laps of the pool to find a good location, and the perfect location was this little lounge room, which there was a couple of people at, and they just got up to leave. So I grabbed all my stuff and went to move there, and a couple of the workers have gone for their smoko, and they're having a nap over there. So that goes to show where we're at. But yeah, no, it's absolutely beautiful over here. I love this joint. I've been here 3 times now, and yeah, it's so good.
Almost a local, mate.
Yeah, I know, mate. I've had a few people like remember me from last time. Just like these kids, they grow so quickly over here. Like they were tiny last time, and now they've got like full beards, and like they're just bigger than I am. So it's cool. They're all legends. But enough about me. You've just had a pretty exciting weekend up at Burleigh at the Rock Break there. How was it all at the Australian Board Riders Battle Grand Final?
Yeah, it was funny. I went back into the office yesterday and caught up with the typical crew at work, and they're like, "Oh, how's your weekend?" And I said to them, "Look, to be honest, I feel like I've just been like on for the last 4 days, and what I mean by that is just like so much interactions with people. Obviously, we had the Jai Glindemann Prem at Lennox Pub on Thursday night, and for a school night, it went fucking off. There was 300 plus people there. We had Ragebait and Couch Wizard downstairs performing, which was just fucking insane. The singer of Couch Wizard ended up jumping on a table and falling through, like punching the roof, doing like front flips off tables. There was full-blown mosh pits for a Thursday night at Lennox Pub. Like, it was so cool to see. So obviously we looked after that, so I was just kind of in and around everything, trying to make sure everything was all good.
Yeah, the jack of all trades that night, mate. You jumped in there, MC, setting up the video. Oh, sorry, passion fruit seed in the throat. You're setting up the video, you're setting up the setting. So no, it's good to see, and you killed it. That clip. Mormick filmed it, correct?
Correct. Yeah, Mikey made that, and it went off. He got some really good feedback. So yeah, he smashed it.
Yeah, and the surfing was just elite, especially if you haven't seen it yet. Is it playing on Stab now, I believe?
It's on Stab Premium, and then in a couple of weeks' time, it will be all over the world, pretty much everywhere.
If you haven't seen it, make sure you do, because all the surfing's amazing, but then you get to the third scene at a Fiji, and it's just mind bending. Some of the waves he gets over there it's actually not healthy what he did. It was
100%.
Actually insanity.
And he didn't just
Uh,
get one; he gets a couple.
he
But the
gets a
funny
few.
thing was about that, I was obviously emceeing, and I made a bar mitzvah joke, and I don't know if anyone laughed, but I was shitting it. I was like, "Fuck! I hope there's no Jewish people around or whatever." I think
Oh,
I was saying like, "Oh, it's his coming of age clip. Like he's not a grom anymore. He's an adult. He's charging big Fiji." So I said, "This is like his bar mitzvah of the surf world." So, but yeah, I was definitely out of my comfort zone emceeing an event, but it was good turnout, and then straight into the ABB.
yep. And talk to me about that because I don't know why they did that, but they decided about the semi-finals. They'd cut it off to YouTube, and you had to be on a paid subscription, which I am to KO. But given I'm not in Australia, I can't watch it. So I need you to give us a healthy rundown of the whole event, but especially the semis.
I did not even know that, so that's funny. Yeah, ABB, fucking huge event. For anyone not familiar, it's the Australian Board Riders Battle. So all like the clubs from around the country have like regional qualifiers, and then they all meet in one location. I think it used to be at Cronulla, but now it's at Burleigh Heads. Now, Burleigh Heads, perfect spot for spectators, access to shops, you name it. Really good wave, but it's a fucking horrendous spot for a tag team because you have to think about the rock jump off. You have to think about surfing all the way down the point to get in because you're not actually allowed to come in on the rocks. That's seen as a penalty because it's cutting kind of the course short, if you call it. So you have to go all the way down the beach. And this year, because of the absence of sand, well, there was sand, but it was kind of this big gutter along the shoreline. So all the surfers had to paddle through that and then run a kilometre up a hill, which was wet. Yeah, it was a very difficult event. It always is. And I guess that's what brings the spectators. It makes it so much better for viewing because the anticipation of time and all that. There was a few times where people were running towards it and ran out of time in the last couple of seconds. But fucking horrendous if you're in it. It's tough work.
Yeah, those tag teams are stressful enough, let alone having to run down at high tide Burley and try and jump off those rocks there with 5 other people around you. Like it looks crazy. And I'm happy I'm not in that one because I would have knocked some fins out for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a tricky event. There's rocks to deal with. There's people everywhere. But like I said, really good platform for a lot of surfers that maybe don't get the limelight that they want or usually see. It's all over TV. It's a huge event site, so it's definitely a really cool event, and they kind of nailed it. But for us in Libar, we did okay. We came seventh or something, so we got knocked in the semis.
Yep, yep,
We were smashing it. We just ran out of time and didn't get back into the box in time.
yep.
And you lose 5 points, and that kind of killed us. So, but other than that, the heat before it, we were smashing it. We were definitely a standout of the event, and then we just kind of got screwed over by time. But yeah, good on the crews that did very well. Pretty sure North Shore won it, and then Torquay got second. So good on those guys.
Yeah, and it's also worth mentioning as well, like did hit a bit of a stumbling block in the semis with Mike in the previous heat. Mike McDonough, who was the power surfer for Libar, finding one of the many rocks at Burley and pretty well. He thought he snapped his ankle in half. So, yeah, like kind of had to take him out of the power surfing for the next heat. Harry O'Brien did a really good job still, but it's never a good thing having an injury in your quarterfinal, is it?
Nah, not at all. It was unfortunate. There was only one rock in front of the scaffolding where there's a ramp up to the scaffolding. There's only one rock there. And he found it, and it wasn't his fault, really. It was a wave had submerged it, and it just looked like sand. And he's run pretty much full tilt over a rock that he didn't anticipate to be there. So, which resulted in a rolled ankle. So, yeah, that was a pretty tough pill to swallow. But we still bounced back pretty well from it, to be honest. We were expecting him to be down and out for the count, but he strapped it up and had a few red snakes, and out there he went.
And like you said, he still managed a six, and Harry's like there's so much talent in that team, so you can kind of chuck anyone in as your power surfer, and they're going to do a job for you. So, but yeah, it would have helped if there was no injuries, obviously. We'll go from that though into the surfer of the week. Now, Zach, I'm gonna let you take this one away because I've been off the grid here a little bit, so I don't really have one this week. But I'm pretty happy with your one. I'm happy to jump on your bandwagon here. Who is it?
Yeah, so I've gone for Arthur Villar. He's a young Brazilian kid who I believe it's about 12 or 13. He looks about 8. He's so like skinny and small. I'm sure everyone's heard of him. He's got 207,000 followers on Instagram. He's fucking doing some crazy stuff in pools. But the reason why he's the surfer of the week for me this week was he's actually in Munich, Germany at the moment, and it's freezing. It's about -1 or a couple of degrees. The pool temp would be about maybe 10 degrees or 8 degrees. It's freezing. And sometimes you see surfers really struggling with being from warm cultures or warm climates, sorry, and then going to the complete opposite. And Finley, I'm not sure if you've done much of that, but like when I go to Bells or South Australia or New Zealand, it's fucking hard to surf. Like you feel like you need WD-40 in your joints. You just feel fucked. And this kid went to the wave pool with Red Bull. I believe they're doing a bit of a camp over there. And he's doing the same shit that he was doing in Brazil, which includes big airs in all different variations. So I know it's a bit of a weird one, but I like it. And he's going to be pretty spectacular to watch. Not sure if he'll ever eventuate into like the wild and become like a CT surfer and whatnot, but
Sure.
he might just be like the next Jacob Zekale who just kind of hang around that pool free surfer scene and just do well that way.
Yeah, and he's been in the mix a couple of times. I think one of the previous weeks we did the surfer of the week, he dropped the clip pretty much the next day, and it was like incredible. So good thing he's had a bait in this now, and yeah, like I say, I'll back you in there because he is nuts. He's pretty much Italo Ferreira's little protege, and I don't know. I think if he grows a little bit, he's a bit short. So hopefully he hits a little bit of a growth spurt. I think that'll help him in terms of translating over to comps and maybe throwing a bit more spray and a bit more water. But yeah, look, definitely, I think he's going to be all right. Like, definitely set himself up as a free surfer at worst.
For sure. I think for a Christmas present, we'll send him over some creatine and a bunch of apples or something like that because, yeah, you're right. He is tiny. So let's just see. He is young, but fuck, I don't know. Future's looking pretty bright for that Grom.
100%. We'll go straight from that into our. Oh, did you want to go into your facts, or we'll do El Salvador first? I
We'll
think that's
go
what we
El
had.
Salvador first. We'll
Yeah,
get it out of the way. Not like WSL did that. They fucking dragged that thing out.
they
Swell of the
really
year
did.
coming forever. Gee whiz.
Mm. At least I did note here it did finish in pumping conditions, which was a positive. We had our winners, so we had Gabriella Bryan and Geordie Smith. Now, both really, in hindsight, if you look at them, they're fairly obvious picks, like powerhouses. Geordie's had a long history of doing well at right-hand point breaks, given he's from J-Bay, and full hindsight hero, but it kind of is an obvious one in the end with him, isn't it?
I think yes and no. Like if you were to say Margie's main break, fuck yeah, throw him in there. Or Big Bells, yeah, fuck, throw him in there. But I don't know if I agree. I think Punta Rocas feels like a more rippable, less powerful, periodically wave. So yeah, like you're right in a sense that now that the event is finished and concluded and we have a winner, it's like fuck off. That's no brainer. Yeah, Geordie Smith. Oh fuck, forgot about him. But yeah, I don't know. I still would have thought your boyfriend would have gone all right, but he didn't. Your
Yeah.
boyfriend, for anyone who doesn't know, is Philippe Toledo 2.0.
Hmm.
Or like a Sammy Pupo again, fucking melt. So I don't
Yeah.
know. On the fence.
Yeah, fair. Gabriella, few shaky heats in the lead up to the final, including one where she had Katie Simmers. Katie had the highest wave of the heat by quite some margin. She had like a high 7, and she was left needing around a 2.5 in the dying stages of the heat, and she could not get it for the life of her. She found a little one and did a few taps and just never really looked that interested in the wave. But for Gabby, in Gabby's sort of credit, like you make your own luck in these things, and she got her 2 mid-range scores, and it was enough in the end. And sure enough, she pushed through into the final and got it done. So good on her. And then with Geordie, solid the entire event. And in the final, you really saw his experience shine through. He was sitting outside Maddie in that first exchange and managed to get the first wave of the heat still, which I don't know how he did that, and it ended up being the highest score. So, 7-3-3, and after that, not much came through. So, good on him. And yeah, Maddie as well, like, special mention to him. Really needed a result, and he's pulled through a second year, so that'll really help him throughout the end of the year.
Yeah, I wonder what O'Neill probably like talking about. Oh fuck, like Geordie hasn't done much in a while. I think his last win was 2018 Bells or 2016 Bells or something like that. It'd be over like 10 years or something like that. Um, so pretty good confidence boost for him, I think.
Yeah,
Obviously, at the age of retirement, generally speaking, for most surfers, we won't talk about one particular bald man, but most people are tapping out, and so many of the crew that he went onto the tour with have already tapped out. So I think this is a huge confidence boost for Geordie, and also a huge confidence boost for Matty McGillivray that he may qualify at this point. He's looking pretty good to qualify. I think he
100%.
jumped 14 spots or something.
He did, yeah. So, yeah, really, really good result for both those guys. We'll get into a bit more of the nuts and bolts of this event with some disappointments and some surprises. I'll start off with my disappointments. So, if you were watching, which was pretty hard to do this event because of how intermittently they'd run heats, but you had my first one is for the disappointments column is Sally Fitz. Now, her round one performance was possibly the worst I've ever seen on the championship tour level. And it's not so much a dig at Sal because she bloody rips, but I've never seen a surfboard look so bad. Like, it actually looked like it had boulders on it from the rocks. She looked like she just strapped a few of those to the board, and it was horrific. It was really bad. She did recover into the second round, but she only managed a couple of fives, and she ended up with a last place again. So bit of a bummer for Sal. She's not looking great on the rankings, but in saying that, she does have the Oz leg, which we know she can do well at. And look, I reckon if anyone's going to pull a rabbit out of the hat, it'll be her, but also will not be surprised to see her back on the QS doing what she does best. So yeah, we'll leave that one there. And then another really disappointing one was Tyler Wright. She actually didn't get out of the 5 range in both her heats. She had 2 9-point heat totals. And yeah, she was lucky she missed the elimination round, but then just straight away into the second round was gone again. So she never really looked a chance in this one. And then Erin Brooks. Now, I've been high on her all year, and the little world champion waiting has fallen short once again. Round of 16, so she did sort of, actually no, in the ladies, that's actually a second round knockout. So she beat Sally, but again she lost to the other American tour rookie Bella Kenworthy, and it's really not going as well as I expected for Erin this year. I think if she can make the cut, and I think she will, the last couple of events could be real fruitful for her. I think she could definitely still make that top 5, but she's just making it really, really difficult for herself. I don't know if you have any thoughts on the ladies' side of things that I just ran through.
Yes and no. In a whole, I didn't really get to watch much of this event because I go to bed like a fucking normal person at 9 p.m. and I wake up and it was pretty much finishing. But what I did see was, yeah, you're correct. In the Sally one, I don't know. She's going to have to pull a rabbit out of a hat and some. I just can't see it happening, to be honest. It's just so disappointing that she won the QS, well, the Challenger Series, so commandingly, and then has just almost been absent in all aspects of the tour. And Erin Brooks, again, I think that might be, look, I'm not in her corner or a fly on the wall in her room or a whatever, but I think that could be pressure from external pressures from just being on tour and being so young. And also having the world put these expectations on your shoulders saying like, oh, you're the best, you're going to win. Like, I think hearing that over and over is going to be difficult. And perhaps this is the ramifications of those conversations. It's hard to live up to your expectation. And I feel like once you have 2 or 3 bad events, you start to call that a slump. They're no longer just isolated results. So hopefully she can get out of that rut she's in.
For sure. Okay, so from that, we'll move on to the surprises. So we go to a positive note now. Bella Kenworthy. I was super sus on Bella. She had a really lackluster performance at small pipe to start the year. She looked horrific, but she's managed to put together 3 consecutive quarterfinals now, and she's really shown that she actually belongs there. She lost in the quarters to the eventual winner, Gabby Bryan, and she had the second highest heat total of the event. She had a 15.67. Gabby just went on a heater and she put up like 17.4 or something. So really sort of annoying there for Bella, but that happens sometimes, and that's another big confidence booster for her. She got past some really good surfers in this event, so she'll be pumped on that. And then the only other one I had in the surprises was Izzy Nichols. So put up a number of strong performances all the way through the draw. Probably some of the better wave selection I saw. She wasn't really going crazy on her waves, but when she got them and she picked them really well, she finished them, and sometimes that's all you got to do. So she's she gets the second place there, and she's really beginning to make these clutch results a bit of a habit. That's the second time she's pulled out a final when she's needed it, and she's put herself five places above in the rankings, above the cut, and there's a bit of daylight there now. So good on her for that.
Yeah, I think that was most certainly dark horse of the event for both men and women. If I speak honestly, I don't think many people would have picked Bella Nichols to be up there as runner-up, but good on her.
100%. Now we're going to the men. So disappointments, Lobby. Come on, like it's such a shame, man. He's such a good surfer, and really thought this was going to be a good event for him. He's had a semi there in the past. He lost to Griffin in the semis, but he just never really clicked for him in this event. I really think he would have benefited from a better forecast early in the event. It was a bit small and a bit slow, and it's really at times when it's like that, especially at this wave with how long the intervals are between sets, it can really sort of catch even some of the best surfers in the world off guard. We saw that happen with Philippe in his heat. I don't even really want to say he lost his heat. He just literally, similar to Lebar at the ABB, just ran out of time. Like, he was clearly the best surfer, and he just got eclipsed at the end there because he only had one significant wave all heat, and that kind of can just happen. And I think for Lob, like few better waves in his heats, he would have dropped some pretty significant scores. So it's such a shame for him. Did you want to add anything there, Zach? I saw you sort of lurch up then.
Yeah, I think we've all been waiting for Lobby to solidify his position up the top end of the pointy end of the stick, and yeah, I feel like some people may be getting a little bit impatient with this, but like you said, he fucking rips. He deserves it. We're just kind of waiting now. He will come back up in this episode later when we move into the bells, so I'll leave it at that.
Okay, cool. Zach, what's happening with Griff?
I think he's changed his Spotify playlist, like we spoke about. I think he's moved from smooth jazz to blues, and the reason I say blues is because no one fucking likes it, and it's hard to fucking get along with because there's no tempo or beat that's predictable. I don't know what happened here. I think he's probably one of the most picked people in the fantasy for this event, and went terribly. So I'm not really sure what really happened there.
Yeah, look, to be fair, he did come up against Matty McGillivray, who did make the final. But geez, just keep waiting for a breakout performance from him, and it just isn't happening for him. His third 17th place of the year, and he finds himself one spot behind his brother on the rankings, who missed the first 2 events with injury. So Crosby's actually taken over him now. That's crazy. That shouldn't be happening. He's definitely, again, we don't know. We're not in his corner,
But I feel like something's changed, and he's probably going, holy fuck, I need to get back to what I was doing. It might be board changes, it might be coach changes, who the fuck knows, but I'm sure he is desperately trying to find out what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. And then I'm sure you saw this. I put this on the Instagram story. Kanoa Igarashi's my third and final disappointment for the men's. He had this heat in his hands and he fumbled it really badly. Now, I'll give a little rundown of what happened to people that don't know. So in these priority heats, you have priority and it gives you complete right of way on any wave you want. You don't have to go the wave. You can use it to block. You can paddle, or you can take off and block someone that way. But basically, if you've got that P next to your name, it's whatever wave you want is yours. They can't obstruct with you in any way. The thing with that rule, though, is that once the time elapses on the clock and you've run out of time, you no longer have priority. So priority's ended, and if you fade someone after the heat, that's it. It's an interference on you. It's a really unfortunate way for him to lose because he was looking good in this event as well. But yeah, look, he just let Crosby get too far away from him in the dying stages, and you can't do that at that level because Crosby just powered up the point, and I gave Cros a rap for this too. Like, it's easy just when it's slow like that, and you can just defeat yourself as well. Like, it's easy for him to just go, oh, there's 1 minute left. There's nothing looking like it's coming. Like, I'm just going to sit here and wait. Hopefully there's a 2-wave set. But he kind of just took it into his own hands, paddled up the point, and put himself onto a really good looking set wave that Kanoa was dead set about half a second away from catching. And then Crows put a couple pumps in, raced down the line, Kanoa burnt him, and that was Kanoa's event done. Have you got any thoughts on that, Zach? It's happened a couple of times before, seen a few notable versions of this. But what was your reaction to that?
First of all, definitely rare that you find yourself in a situation where one surfer stands up before the hooter and the second surfer stands up allegedly after the hooter. It was very tight. I do think the call was right here, but you make a very good point that Kanoa simply gave Crosby an inch and Crosby took the mile. He shouldn't have had that much breathing room between them both. Although, given the circumstances that he did give him that breathing room, he was fucked if he didn't go that wave anyway, because he needed a 4.69 or something. He was going to get that score. It was a big wave. It was going to run the whole way. So Kanoa, unfortunately, had to go that wave. And whether he got an interference or not, he couldn't let it go. The result was the same from that moment onwards, in my opinion. He was going to get a 4 every day of the week.
Yeah, sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? Like, he was, like, the real error there was that he didn't stick to Crosby like glue with a minute to go. That's the only real error he made, because I think you're right. He had to go that wave because it was a 4, and the unfortunate thing was that there was only about a half second left when he started like getting to his feet, so he was never going to get up in time. But yeah, look, I do feel a bit sorry for him because it's a really bad way to lose, but completely his fault, and 17th place for him. Moving to the guy that beat him, Crosby, as a surprise now. So getting to the surprises, well surfed all event. I think it was you posted on the socials before how good he was looking, and he really made this event count for him. Looking in a pretty bad way in terms of requalification before this event, and he's jumped up 9 spots with that 3rd place on the rankings. So it's well within his grasp now, and I think with a strong sort of 1 or 2 events in this Oz leg, he should find himself making the cut, which I was, to be honest, really worried for him because it didn't look like it was going to happen, and it also didn't look like he was going to get rewarded a wild card. So good on him for that. GP, Georgie Pitta, he only actually managed around a 16 in the end, but I don't think that result is really telling of how good he was surfing in the event. Super impressive, and he's another one now he's in a good spot. He's not safe by any means, but he's in a good spot for the Australian leg. He's above the cut, and I think given that there is a touch of pressure taken off him, I think he's in a really good spot to make some of these events count, like really give it some and jag another good result. So good on GP.
You're spot on with GP. Sorry to jump in there. There's one thing that's creeping up on my radar with GP, and it's the double bottom turn pump. It's kind of, when you watch him come off the bottom and he holds the rail and then goes into the next turn, it's fucking beautiful. I feel like he could be one of those surfers, and there's heaps of surfers that do it, that get caught in that like really fast double, triple pump kind of. You'll see it, and you could roll back the clip where it's like a, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's not one long drawn out bottom turn in between turns. He does this kind of little double take, and I think that can be a silent killer in someone surfing. So interesting. I've seen that creep in.
Okay.
And sometimes it looks really good. I think if you do it once or twice on a wave, but every bottom turn, it starts to look detrimental in my opinion.
Yeah, sure. Like I saw, maybe did see that too. I just more looked at the fact of how like twitchy and responsive his boards were looking. Like every time he sort of put a bit of weight on that front foot to get the board moving, it really reacted, and it almost, you're right, like it does almost maybe result in like a double stage bottom turn, but it just looks so like twitchy and really like his board wanted to go wherever he wanted it. So I wasn't too sort of critical of that, but those you touched on his top turns, they're some of the best when he gets it right.
I'm getting like, this could be absolutely wild, or some people might say all over it. I get Adam Melling vibes.
Yeah,
I
no,
reckon
that's
like Oakley days, Adam Melling, fucking J Bay days. I get
yeah.
that vibe.
He's got
We
that
might have
real
to
like
put a side by side up on some socials and get a poll going.
yeah. I like it. Like it's kind of that real sort of upper body torque that Melling had, and George has got that too. Really twists his body for his turns, and really visually nice to look at. So that's a great shout from you. And then my last sort of surprise for the event was Matty McGillivray. Now showed a heap of versatility in this event. He made heats in a number of different methods. Got himself out of trouble in a crucial heat against Griff using some of the scariest looking airs I've ever seen. I don't know if you've seen his air reverse, Zach, but he pretty much hits the hollowest part of the wave and just sends himself out straight leg into the flats and rides out of them more often than not. It's horrific. And I think you would get, given your injury history, you would have some PTSD looking at some of those.
Yes and no. I do have horrific injuries, but mine was all from boring shit. Did a
Right.
carve, I've done a 360, and then I did a floater. So,
Okay.
yes and no.
Right. But yeah, so he got himself out of trouble against Griff using his airs, and then against Griff's brother Crosby in the semis, dropped an excellent score over an 8 just using turns. So got it all, Matty, and a second place touched on before, massive 14-point place jump up the rankings. So he's again found himself in a good position. And from that, we'll jump into a bit of a ranking snapshot. So we'll go the top 5 on each men's and ladies tours, and the bottom 5 just to see where people are sitting. I'll do the
Italo,
ladies.
what is this guy eating?
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll go men's first then. Italo. So we've got a
He could
third place.
fucking not even come to Australia, and he'd still probably fucking win.
He's already re-qualified for the tour. For
Impossible to get off tour.
he can't fall off at the cut, so he's already
Fuck,
locked
he
in.
should be at Coachella. He's blowing it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think he'd be opposed to it, Zach. I think he'd be right there if he could. So yeah, third place, first place, second place, fifth place. So a very good run of events there. Second place on the men's tour is Ethan. Third place is Yago. Fourth place, Barron. And fifth place, Geordie Smith. Haven't seen him up in the top 5 in a while, but good on him for
No.
getting back there.
It's interesting not seeing Griff or Jack Robbo in that mix.
Yep.
A couple
Philippe.
episodes ago, we talked about, again, Philippe, yep. I'm half right and half wrong as per 5 or 6 episodes ago. So interesting to see where this one lands in the next couple Australian leg tour events.
And like the next 2 after that, it's not like Jack's missed out by one spot. I'm pretty sure it's like Leo and then into like a Miguel Pupo or someone.
Miggy's
So like
7th, yep.
yeah, so pretty cool little top 5 setting up here. Bottom 5. So these guys that are just really struggling, and to be honest, it's getting a bit rough, especially for your bottom 2. So you got Emai Kalani DeVault down in 34th spot.
I
he's
forgot
had-
he was even on tour. That's
Yeah.
how bad he's going. And I feel like this is his second lap, yeah, on the tour.
He's had a couple, yeah. It's definitely not his first.
And I think that he's not even really a household name. I feel like if you're on the tour for 2 or 3 years, you start to become like yeah, I know that guy. But if I went to Lennox pub and sat with a tradie who loves surf and said, Emai, they'd be like, who's that? I really feel for him, and I know that he fucking rips, but I'm questioning what's going on in his camp.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, he's currently 3 elimination round finishes, which is he's gonna have to count, I think, at least one of those. And then he's got like a ninth place or something, so it's really holding him back down there with those elimination round losses. 33rd is the Grog, Edgar Gurgia. I think that was probably his last venue to make a heat at. We're talking to Caleb Tankred during the week, and he had a similar opinion. For old Groggy, he's probably missed his chance to secure a big finish, and I just think it's going to get harder and harder for him in the Oz League. Anything on that, Zach? Or you're pretty happy with that review on Grog?
Yeah, that's pretty standard.
Yeah.
I don't think the Australian leg's going to be well suited for old Grogman.
No. 32nd, and he's at a further extent than Griff, someone
This
who I
is
thought
fucking
would.
insane. This
Yeah,
is insane. This is more insane than fucking Trump's tariffs. I don't know what the fuck is going on here.
Yeah. Oh, he's someone I thought it would have happened for now, and just continues to lose in the first or second round. So really not looking good for him. One here, 31st place, Ryan Callanan. Now, real
I
shame
don't
for
even
him.
think sorry to jump in there. We didn't even mention who we're talking about. That's Sammy Pippo.
No, I think. Oh, did I not?
No, I
Okay.
don't think we
Well,
did. So sorry to everyone who was waiting for the big climax finish. It's Samuel Pippo.
yeah. Well, it's probably best he isn't named this year because he'd be pretty rattled with his results so far.
For sure.
Ryan Callanan, he had that injury 2 events ago and then got himself together and took himself to LSAL. Still another second round loss for him. So round of 32, that is.
I think take the injury out. Sorry to jump in. He wouldn't be there.
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, 31st for him is getting a bit desperate, but he has clocked results at Bells in the past, so hopefully he can get something there. And then the 30th position is Ian Gentile, who is the injury wildcard or replacement this year for Medina. Just consistently losing early. So they're all guys that I'd probably say you'd have to say at least 3 of them, you can write them off immediately. And the other 2 is not looking great. Similar to the ladies, so Katie Simmers in first place, Gabby Bryan second. She's moved up 3 spots into second place for that win. Someone who's had really crazy results here. So starts off with like a round of 16 or something, and then straight into a third, a second, and a first. So she's built these last 3 events to the win. Molly Picklam's been a bit quiet, but she's again just all thirds and seconds. Caroline Marks in 4th, and then Tyler Wright in at 5th, even with that poor result there. So that win's doing a bit of heavy lifting for her that she got at the start of the year. Anything to add there, Zach?
Yep. Katie Simmers is fucking insane. I don't know what the fuck's going on there. I am periodically pretty tough on the women's surfing. I think it's been slow to get up to the standard of where it should probably be at this point in our lives. Katie Simmers is fucking on the forefront there. I don't know what she's doing or what she's eating. She's fucking ripping, mate, and she's truly bridging the gap between men and women's surfing. It is so good to watch. One thing I don't like though is the almost too coolness of her approach in the post-heat interviews. I think that last one was pretty bad. Like it wasn't even.
She looked like she looked like she just had like a local sort of like hash brownie or something before she surfed her heat and just couldn't put a sentence together.
Yeah, and like I get it, she's got that cool kind of skater, fucking Avril Lavigne fucking look, whatever. I get it, super marketable, and she fucking rips. She can do whatever she wants. She doesn't need to listen to Zach Whiteman, who's fucking nothing. But there's a fine line between looking like an idiot and being cool.
Yeah, for sure. I second that. And then we'll go through the bottom 5. So Sally Fitz down at 16th. I don't think, I said before, she probably could have a run. I don't think it's going to happen through the Oz leg, to be fair. I think she's just going to fall off again. Joanne Defay off with pregnancy, so I'm sure she'll get some kind of wild card. Luana Silva in at 14th, really consistent. I don't know what round that is, but she's had every single event this year. Maybe like a round of sort of 16 on the ladies. So that's like a second round loss. So she's not looking great. The issue with her there, because she's been so consistent, and she doesn't really have a throwaway. So like that's when it sort of comes down to the cut. You have to get rid of an event, and if you've been really consistent, it actually almost works against you in some cases, because you end up throwing away an event that is kind of worth quite a few points. So that could be an issue for her. Betty Lou, similar, but she has had that quarterfinal finish there, so she's looking a little bit better. And Brissa Hennessy, who's in a very similar spot to Betty Lou. The ladies' tour is way tighter than the men's, so it's actually a lot harder for them to actually creep up into that top sort of 10 or whatever it is.
Yeah, but they're dropping like fucking flies at this point.
Yeah, well, true. Yeah, there's a few that are missing, a few notable ones. But yeah, look, that's your bottom five on the ladies, and I think probably maybe fair to say we might lose all of them. To be fair, Joanne's going to be back, but I can't really see maybe a Betty Lou if she pulls something out.
Yep. No, I think they're probably going to go. But we'll move on to the wrap up of the fantasy team for this event. Me and you, mate, pretty well neck and neck.
We did good this event,
Define good.
Well, we're in a 60-something man league, maybe a 70-man league. I came 50th. You came 51st.
Yep. I'm just happy we're together.
Yeah, we're back there. Not a great showing from us. Clearly don't know what we're talking about. We'll go through the top five of the event, though. So in at first place, West Lizzie. Don't know who you are, but you've come first, and I saw you overall. You're making your way up the rankings too. Second is Kevin Greeler. So I'm assuming that's Kevin Greeley. So well done to Kevin. Bowie in at third again. Mr. Consistent just keeps doing his thing. Smelly Feet in at fourth, and Surf 2 Packers in at fifth. Don't know who they are either.
I'm really upset that there was no foreskin names in this one. Last event, 2 foreskins. Finley's foreskin and was it Gabby's? No.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it was.
Nah, Gabby's Peck.
Oh, it's Gabby's Peck.
And maybe Geordie Smith? Oh, I don't know. But yeah, it's a bow out for the foreskins this time around. Sorry, lads.
Yeah, and I couldn't be happier about it. And then overall, so Andy Irvine just holding it down and at first place. He actually hasn't moved from first place this year. He's been there after every event. So, but Bowie in at second now. He's bridging the gap, and it's only about 100 points now, where it was about 200 before this event. So he's got a little bit of competition coming after him. West Lizzie in at third, Smelly Feet in at fourth, and Paul Southern in at fifth. So few names there that we've run through. And then as you can sort of see here, and I keep touching on it, but it's important to know that multiplier starts coming in pretty handy. So you've got Smelly Feet and West Lizzie, who both did good in that last event. They're now cemented themselves top 5. So starting to sort of come together for them. And Zach, we'll get into bells, but you've got some facts for us.
Yeah, I wish we had some fucking jazzy music to be like, do Zach's facts. Maybe we can do that. But
I'll come up with something.
Yeah, I was going to almost say it's probably out of our fucking depth, but yeah. I'm sure that you're a bit of a wizard on the tech, so we could get it going. Righto, thanks everyone if you are here this far into the episode, we're up to probably the more interesting side of our conversations, if you agree, Finley.
Yeah,
at least there's something out of this.
It's always good.
Only kidding. So I've got a few facts, and I thought I'd keep them themed current to what's going on and where we are going. So obviously Finley is in Vanuatu right now, and I will be going down to Bells Beach to watch the CT event. So this round of fun facts is themed at those. So the first one, and we will be putting in a video to illustrate how fucking bananas this is. Vanuatu invented bungee jumping. God only knows why or how, We will insert a little bit of a clip, but what was happening was in the month of May, the village boys and men would complete this ritual known as Nangol. I think it's how you would say it. And they pretty much build these big wooden structures, Finley, and please do fucking go try this out while you're there. They build these big wooden structures up to 30 meters tall, and they tie vines around their ankles and simply jump off. What could go wrong?
I don't know if that's a dig at me or is that like telling me to go and do this because it looks mental. It's pretty much just sending yourself off a building with a vine attached to your leg, and there's no the thing with bungee cords is that they have some stretch there, so they kind of absorb your force as you go down. This is a vine, so there's no shock absorption there. That is just pure. You hit the bottom, and it's not rare for these guys to pretty much land headfirst into the mud below. So pretty incredible scenes. We'll chuck that in. That's yeah. Zach sort of mentioned his fact before, and I was like, oh, I've seen this video before. I'm pretty sure that'd be the same one. And sure enough, we looked it up, and it was. So it's great news.
Fucking insane.
It's proper nuts. And then you've got another Vanuatu fact here that's probably a bit less jovial.
Yes, cannibalism. A bit of a interesting topic, but Vanuatu had only finished their cannibalism activities in 1969, which was not that long ago. To put that into perspective for our young folk, that's when Quicksilver was born. I believe Ripcurl was 1969 as well. So when someone was making Quicksilver boardies, someone was being eaten. So it was customary in the cooking practices, and it was passed down through generations to generations. So don't know who the sacrificial lamb was, but yeah, that only happened about 50 years ago-ish.
Well, yeah, and I'm doing my best to avoid any sort of interactions of that nature. So luckily it's no longer going. But yeah, I've been keeping myself well out of the way of any trouble here.
I was just thinking though, like Vanuatu, what would you call them, Vanuatuans?
The Ni Vanuatu, I think, is the correct term.
Okay, perfect. They are the nicest humans on earth. I just can't see them shaking your hand and being so humble and a soft handshake, and then them going, "Oh, we're just going to eat you." So the contrast of where the cultural significance comes from and the type of people that they are is pretty funny. But yeah, nonetheless, it's all done. Thank God.
I
They don't do it
think
anymore.
it's important. I think it's important to note as well. This isn't like the people that were doing this weren't your Joe Blow off the street. Like not everyone over here's out to get you. It was probably, and I've done zero research into this, but I assume it was some sort of like tribal areas where they're a little bit more remote and they're sort of off the grid a bit more. I think you'd find that's who sort of was partaking in that behavior. But yeah, still interesting to note because I know in PNG they still have a few communities that partake in this too. So I guess it's just like as they've come through the ages, it's just something that's lingered. And yeah, I mean some of those uncontacted tribes and things like that still get into it. So yeah, we'll stay away from them. And then into bells, Zach, you got a couple bells facts here, and the second of which is a great of the sport agreeing with our headline of our first episode, which was "To Hell with Bells." I'll let you run through them.
Yes, so the Ripcurl Pro Bells Beach is the longest running professional surf contest on the CT. I did have the numbers, but it's fucking old. I think it's again about 50 years old, even a bit older. So yeah, longest one that's been going on the CT. Although, is it the best or is it hell with bells? Because four-time winner of the Ripcurl Pro Bells Beach, Mark Richards, called bells a dud and one of the most overrated waves in the world. That was his quote. So thank you, MR, for agreeing with us because, yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess that's enough said there. Who's your dark horse and your winner on the ladies' side, Zach, for bells?
I'm going my dark horse is Betty Lou. I don't know. I just keep saying it, and hopefully one day it will stick. So I think it's the law of
Averages.
percentages or averages. Yeah, I'm just going to
Yep.
stick with it and keep going. And for my winner, I'm gonna go Caroline Marks. I don't love that, but I just feel like it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Uh, and I probably stole a lot of people's picks as well with mine. My dark horse is Vahin Fierro. I think she's a goofy footer, but she's really impressive backhand. I think she could be someone who surprises. And look, don't think she'll win the event, but I think she could go further than a lot of people think. And then my winner, I've gone with Gabby Bryan. I think you just got to sort of strike while the iron's hot with her. She's just killing it. She's built every event so far, and I think I would not be shocked in any matter if she's again standing at the podium after Bell. So that's my picks. And then in the men's, Zach, who's your dark horse and your winner?
I'm actually going Connor O'Leary for the dark horse, purely based off the clip he posted while he was at Punta Roca was so fucking good to watch. I think everyone was gobsmacked. It just looked like he was in a new gear. His backhand's already arguably, in my opinion, the best on tour. And it almost just looks like it's gone up another level. So he's going to another right hand point break. Fucking watch out. So yeah, he is my dark horse. And look, I think it's okay to call him a dark horse. He's kind of in that tier C or B, tier B. So I think that's okay. Don't get angry at me there.
No, that's
And
fine.
for my winner, I've gone Joel Vaughan. I have a really good feeling about this. He did exceptionally well at Irasira in the later stages of last year at a similar wave, I'll call. It's probably similar.
Fat right hander.
And yeah, exactly, a fat right-hander. So I feel like he's going to go really well. He's at home. He's in his own, country. He's familiar with the waves. So I just think that he's going to absolutely smack the back end out of it.
Beautiful. Um, my men's is I've gone Crosby. Just think he is gonna continue his run, and I'm really high on him right now. I'm happy to go with him. And just a side note to that: at what point does Griffin become eligible for a dark horse pick?
Yeah, now.
You reckon now? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
now.
I'll keep it in mind. And then my winner, I'm just going to go Ethan. I think it just speaks for itself. I don't really need to give him too much
Does.
of a rap here. It just seems obvious, doesn't it? And then pretty much we'll just finish up with our fantasy teams for this event. We were able to pick them, which is nice. They've released them pretty quickly. Zach, do you know who
Yeah,
yours
and
is?
mine's based off the forecast, and the forecast is looking fun. I wouldn't say it's going to be pumping. It's going to be around that 2 to 3 to 4 foot mark. But I'm hoping for an event that starts and finishes without any lay days. If I was a betting man, the Victorian government are going to be very eager to run it for the first 4 days because it is public holidays for 4 days, 3 days or 4 days, whatever.
Yep.
So your crowds are going to be maximised for the first 4 days. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's going to run rain, hail, or shine for 4 days.
Yep. Cool. I like it. Who's in your team, Zach?
I'll start off with the women's side. In my tier A, I've gone Gabrielle O'Brien. She's a powerhouse, and I think she's going to do exceptionally well at this event. In my tier B, I've got Erin Brooks and Caroline Marks, purely because people on their backhand at Bells can just get more vertical. And Bells is one of those places where I feel like it almost favours the goofy footers because it is so slopey on your forehand that it's not really a wave where it's going to be promoting big airs and full power surfing for the entirety of the wave. There is obviously sections where you can do that, although it's a very tricky wave. And I feel like having your back squared off on it is just what the judges seem to prefer periodically. And then to round it out in Tier C, I've got Betty Lou as per my dark horse pick. And to finish off, ×2 is on Caroline Marks.
Nice, mate. Mine's pretty much exactly the same as yours, so I won't go through everyone. The only difference is, so yeah, Gabby, tier A, I've just got her as the ×2, and I've got Vaheem Fierro in my tier B. So I'm just going to run with her instead of your shout of Erin Brooks. I'm going to jump off for the first time this year. Just she's done me no good so far. So yeah, I'll run with that. Who's your men's team?
Yep. This one become pretty tricky, but I am very happy with this one because it is predominantly Australian athletes. So number one, rounding it out, Ethan Ewing. If he's not in your fucking fantasy, you've been living under a rock or you're dumb as dog shit. That's pretty much a sure thing. He's probably paying $1.01 on Sportsbet right now. Followed with Italo Ferreira. I don't know. Just got to throw it in. Tier B, Joel Vaughan, and is my times two. I really do believe this is going to be a great event for Joel Vaughan, as per what I've previously said. And I've got Connor O'Leary again, as per what I previously said. He's looking fucking electric at the moment. He's switched into a new gear. And then I have also picked George Pitar, your second boyfriend of the month. And rounding that out with Liam O'Brien, just due, has to be due. I just think he's going to go pretty berserker out there. Tier C, I've gone Crosby, Colapinto, and Arcal.
Okay, and you've jumped off his brother. You haven't gone for Griff.
I have not. I've lost faith. Sorry, Griff.
Okay. My team again's pretty similar. Ethan Ewing and Italo in the tier A. I've got the times 2 on Ethan. I'm pretty certain he's going to win the comp. Tier B, Jachianka, Philippe Toledo, George Pitar, Connor O'Leary. I think pretty much all they speak for themselves, given the raps we've given him. Jachianka hasn't really had a mention, but I just remember a few years ago out there, he lost to John with like a 17-point heat total, and he looked incredible out in the Bells Bowl. So I'm happy to chuck him in there. Tier C, the brothers, Crosby and Griffin. I just think at least one of them's going to be good in this event, so I'll just take them both.
Smart. That's not a bad shout. I like it.
But yeah, that's pretty much us, dude. We hopefully not too much background noise out there for the listeners. Can't remember if we said off the top, but it was lunchtime and I'm sat in the restaurant, so there's some people giving me some weird looks, and I
think they're giving you weird looks because you are lunch. They've got a traditional meal today of Australian boy,
Australian pig.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully that was listenable. That's our rundown for El Sal and Bells, and we will catch up with you guys when it's all said and done on the other side of Bells. Hopefully, like Zach said, that'll be a pretty quick turnaround, and we can get that out next week, and we're not having to wait too long to watch some more surfing because really been enjoying it. But yeah, we'll leave it there. I'm gonna go surfing because the wind's just switched. You might have noticed me looking up throughout the podcast, and it's kind of cross offshore now where it was onshore before. So I'm gonna get me stuff together and get out there. I'll leave you to it, Zach.
Get out there, you dog.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.
Adios, everyone. Bye.
Retro.